Hare Krishna. So we welcome all of you back for the second day of this improving Japa seminar. We chant the holy names, chant the invocation prayers, and then we'll begin from where we left yesterday. Umagyanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Chakshur Unmulitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi गौरवाणी प्रचारिणी निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासुदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। नामाचार्य शरदास ठाकुर की जय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So yesterday we concluded with a pastime, with a story from East Africa, which we'll again narrate. But just a brief recap of what we did yesterday was we spoke introduction of the holy name, and then we also spoke about the techniques of chanting, the 3 P's: posture, pronunciation, and prayers. And in the end, we narrated the story which we want to conclude today. We'll start from where we left yesterday. Is that this couple, Gujarati couple, they came down on the street and they saw this wonderful sight of Englishman and the black man chanting Hare Krishna on the street together. So one of the devotees who was chanting, leading the kirtan, he gave kirtan to someone else. He came out of the kirtan and he came to a stores just where this couple was standing, and he asked from the storekeeper, do they have ginger? So the store's keeper said, we don't keep ginger here. So immediately this wife informed her husband that, well, we have ginger at our home. I think so he has some problem with his throat. He can't sing. That's why he wants ginger. So he asked the devotee, do you want ginger? We have ginger at our home. Can you give a small piece? Can you come upstairs? So they took the devotee to their house on the first floor. As soon as he came inside, this devotee was from a local native African. He came to the house and he saw a beautiful photo of Krishna in the house. More connectivity with the culture. The Gujaratis, they worship Krishna, so they had a photo of Krishna in their house. So as soon as he saw the photo of Krishna, he offered full obeisances. That was another surprising thing for this family, because they saw this native African. He was chanting Hare Krishna, he was dancing in kirtan, he was playing nice musical instruments, and now when he saw Krishna's photo, he offered full pranam. So then he asked a lot of questions to him. Who are you? Where you came from? And he said, we came from a neighboring country. We were trying to do some prachar, preaching of the holy name, establish some programs here. So immediately that time, the mother of this man whose house this devotee visited, the elderly mother, she said that he looks to be a nice devotee. Ask him whether he has taken prasadam. Ask him whether he has taken food. Khana khaya kya? Has he taken any food or not? So, have you taken some food? I said, no, we are now busy chanting, we will take later. Where are you going to take your food? We are not sure. So the mother asked the man to ask him whether you can come, all of you can come and take food in our house. So this man said, I'll let you know. So he went down, this devotee went down and asked the leader of the group, they're asking us to come for lunch here. He said, okay, tell him, okay, we'll come at 1 o'clock. So then the whole kirtan party goes away after informing that 1 o'clock they will come. Meanwhile, this house suddenly it becomes starts forming into action, because can you imagine in a house 30 plus people are going to take prasadam, take food. So the whole house is geared to feed this devotees now. So Gujarati house, they know all the protocols and all. So they prepare a vegetarian food, rice, dal, sabji and chapati and a sweet, something like that. So 1 o'clock these devotees come. The leader of this group was one Prabhupada disciple, a late Prabhupada disciple. That time he was there. This is a story from many years back. His name was Tribhuvan Nath Prabhu from London. So he came, he saw the whole house, a lot of photos of Krishna and other demigods as well. So he sat in the hall, living room. All the devotees sat. This family came to know that he is the leader because everyone just did what he told them to do. So he sat down with a mridanga and all the devotees sat around him in circle and he began kirtan. The kirtan began at 1 p.m. 1:30. The kirtan was still going on. Everyone was chanting enthusiastically. No one was looking here and there among the devotees when the kirtan will end, when prasad will come. Everyone was absorbed in holy name. So this devotee was intrigued. They were thinking when they will stop, when prasadam will come, when food will start. But anyways, this devotee was this person who, this family person whose house he has invited devotees. That family person, he went to his inside room. He had a harmonium. His father had got harmonium long back. So he got the harmonium and he started playing the harmonium in tune with the devotees. Somehow he picked up the beats and he played harmonium nicely. And Tribhuvan Nath Prabhu liked this harmonium. So seeing the harmonium coming in action now, mridanga is also there, kartal is also there. The kirtan went into a crescendo. From 1, the kirtan began. Now it's 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Still kirtan is going on. The kirtan stops at 3 o'clock. And Tribhuvan Nath Prabhu looks around and said, this house is very good. Is the food ready? He said, yes, the food is ready. And Tribhuvan Nath Prabhu says, we need to offer this food. He said, okay, we'll offer this food. How to offer this food? Then he began the kirtan again. The kirtan went on for 1 more hour. After 1 more hour at 4 p.m., Tribhuvan Nath Prabhu told, bring all the food what you have got. That's prasadam now. We have chanted enough. We have pleased Krishna and Krishna has already accepted our food. So at 4 p.m., can you imagine the whole day they are not eaten anything. At 4 p.m., the food is distributed and devotees are so hungry that everything which was there cooked, everything is over, all eaten. And this mother, the lady, old lady in the house, the mother of this gentleman who was having this house, she knew very well that these people are not ordinary people. They have so much of taste for kirtan, holy name. She told her son, why don't you ask them to come tomorrow again and take food here only? This man was very surprised. He said, my dear mother, you don't know. Yesterday only I lost my job. I don't have a new job yet. And you're calling them all 30 of them a prasadam. He said, don't worry. See how much they have faith in Krishna. They are chanting holy name. They are depending on Krishna. Let's also have faith that something will come up. Our Krishna will arrange something. So this holy name created faith in that mother. And she told her son to invite everyone every day. Literally for the next 8 days, the devotees stayed in that country. All 8 days, they hosted those devotees in their house, 30 devotees for food. By the time 8 days were over, this family had got hooked up with devotees and become very, very close to those devotees. And Tribhuvan Nath Prabhu had already given chanting beads to all the family members, and everyone began chanting and said, now what we have done in this house, you continue doing it every day. So these people, this small family of husband, wife, small kids and mother, they all began to chant together as they had seen in Tribhuvan Nath Prabhu's case. And after that they started inviting the neighbors, their friends. And this is how in this country, Tanzania, the Krishna consciousness began. By chanting over the holy names. Not much of philosophy, nothing, just chanting attracted the heart. And this devotee was the first devotee. He invited, and slowly Krishna consciousness starts spreading. It's an Islamic country. And eventually now they have a small center. They are around 30 plus devotees. Many of them initiated, very nice Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis there. And amazing, all because it began with chanting of the holy names. So this is the power of holy name, Shakti, the Shakti of holy name. So there are many more stories like that all over ISKCON world where devotees were chanting. They came across many other people like this and they inspired them to chant, and their chanting led to starting of centers or starting of book distribution, avenues, some nice appreciation came from rest of the people around the world. Everything has come more or less. As we know, Srila Prabhupada began the ISKCON movement by chanting half Hare Krishna mantra. He went to Tompkins Square Park and he began chanting. And everything came from chanting. So this is the power of chanting. Srila Prabhupada mentions a very beautiful point. It's one of the conversations which I have heard from many devotees quoting this. Many devotees like to quote this also. They say that Prabhupada said, if you cannot make 100% full advancement in Krishna consciousness, even if you do 75%, you can catch my dhoti or I'll take you back to Godhead. I'll give some concession. So many times devotees are very happy that Prabhupada is so kind to us that we don't have to think about 100% purity. If 75% is also there, 75%, then it's okay. So we are discussing amongst us some devotees and we're thinking this point that if 75% also is there, as Prabhupada has mentioned, but for 75% we need to put efforts, right? 25% concession is there, but 75% has to come, then we have to put efforts. What kind of efforts? Very simple. Let's take for example, if you are giving an exam and if you want to score 75% marks in the exam, how much you need to prepare? 75%? No. You may have to study 100% and then you may get 75%. If you study 75%, then you may get 50%. Which means that even though we may get concession, efforts are due from our side. We can't avoid putting our efforts in chanting of the holy names. So what are the efforts we are doing? That's also important. See, along with the efforts, we need to also take what are other things around us which do not stop our efforts or which do not dilute our efforts. Like for example, if someone is lighting a fire, right? A bonfire. You light it, you put some fuel, the fire catches up. But you light the fire and then you put some water, what will happen? Instead of fuel, you put the water, the fire will go down. So yesterday we thought of techniques by which we can ignite the fire. But we need to also be aware or anxious or know very well what we should not do to stop our fire. Today in our tools section, yesterday we did techniques section. Today in our tools section, we will discuss something which we should not do or we should avoid to do, or we may also do those things by which our chanting will increase or improve or better. So one of the tools which we have taught few of them, not that everything is there. Holy name is unlimited, so tools are also unlimited, techniques are also unlimited. The few tools which we can practice in our life to make our chanting better. I had a very nice seminar on japa, wherein I heard from this devotee that one of the best things to improve chanting is to hear about those devotees who are good chanters. So hear about those devotees who are good chanters. Who's a good chanter? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was such a beautiful chanter, good chanter. So hear Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's katha. Because Mahaprabhu came as a devotee to teach us how to chant. So who can be best teacher than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's katha of how he relished the holy name. Then good chanters. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself in our sampradaya has appointed a Acharya, Nam Acharya, Srila Haridas Thakur. So we should hear about Haridas Thakur. And there are so many devotees all over the world in different traditions. They are very good chanters. Tukaram Maharaj is in Maharashtra. He is known for his chanting. Then we have so many other devotees who are very well known chanters in South India, in North India, East India, West India. In our own Sampradaya, Gaudiya Sampradaya, Narottam Das Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, our Srila Prabhupada. So when we hear about the katha of how they chanted, the glories of holy name from their mouth, their commitment in chanting, then our commitment also increases. Like one devotee was mentioning very beautiful point that Haridas Thakur, he would chant 22 hours every day. And 2 hours he would do other things. 22 hours would chant, 2 hours other things. Sometimes that 2 hours also will go in chanting, so 24 hours chanting. So more or less 22 hours chanting and 2 hours other things. And his devotee was mentioning very nice point. Haridas Thakur would chant 22 hours and 2 hours other things. Srila Prabhupada is very kind to us. Prabhupada said 2 hours you chant and 22 hours is for you to do other things. So what happens is when we are chanting the holy name, when we are doing something in devotional service, we excel in that service, right? We do something good. Everyone appreciates us in the Vaishnava community where we stay. People call us, you are a good chanter, you are a good cook, you are a good mridang player, you are a good singer, you are a good lecturer. So we tend to be we tend to believe that yet we are very good. But if you see, when we analyze ourselves with people who are top people, then we realize that we are not even on that level. Let me give an example to you. That let's say you buy a car in your society, in a building where you stay, and in the whole building you only have a car. So many people come and say that, oh, you have a car, you are a very rich man now, and you start believing them that you become rich because you have a car. But what if you go to a very posh locality and there you go to meet someone very important person and he has 10 cars, right? He has 10 cars. You see their cars, you saw his car, and you see that these cars are much better than your one car. Then immediately you come to realize, I am not so rich, he is really rich. He has so many cars. So in front of him, then you understand your level, right? But when you go to your building back, everyone is saying that you are the rich person. So you think that you are a rich person. So when we are staying in a Vaishnava community, it may happen that in our particular Vaishnava community, we are best in one particular activity, say chanting or reading or hearing or speaking or singing. But we analyze the level of those who are extremely potent, powerful. Like when we hear the story, the pastime of Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur, then hearing those stories and pastimes of Haridas Thakur, we realize our faith in holy name is so naive, so small. We need to work hard. We need to follow in footsteps of Haridas Thakur and understand how we can become better in our chanting. He chanted so much. He would not even take one drop of water, not one grain of rice, till he completed his chanting. This is called as standard of chanting. So when we hear of this devotees regularly in our life, then we get some understanding that whatever standards we have is not the best. We should move on in our life and improve our standards. So we get an impetus to improvement in whatever we do in our life, especially in our chanting, when we hear about the glories of those who are great chanters. So we can hear from Tukaram Maharaj, how his life was amazing. His life, even though he was a householder, his life was centered around chanting. A beautiful pastime is mentioned that, Tukaram Maharaj would just in the morning just walk away from his house chanting holy name, and he would go somewhere and sit and chant the whole day. His wife was so very much chaste to him that she would look where my husband is so I can provide him food. So in the afternoon time she would make a whole big package of whatever she had made at home, and now she had a very difficult task of finding out where her husband is. But she knew an idea. She knew very well that her husband was very good chanter, very good in holy name. So what she would do is she would keep her ear on the ground, and in the ground then she would hear that this on the ground from this side the sound is coming. The ground will also reverberate the holy name because Tukaram Maharaj had gone from that place. So she would in this way, just by keeping her ears on the ground, she would realize that my husband is going in that direction. And she would walk in that direction, again put ears and change direction, and finally reach her husband. And she would feed her food. So that was the power of Tukaram Maharaj. There's one more saintly lady from Maharashtra, again from the Pandharpur, Janabai, Santa Janabai. This lady was doing very simple household activities and help in the house of one more great devotee, Namdev Maharaj. And she was there and she would make cow dung patties. And many great personalities would come and they would hear holy name in the cow dung patties. That is the power of how our chanting was. That while chanting, The chanting reverberated into our hands and into the cow dung patties. That even cow dung, which is not a living thing, but would reverberate the holy name because it was created by this great saintly lady. So when we hear pastimes of devotees like this, then we understand that we have to go a long way. We cannot be proud that we've done enough advancement. So we need to hear about the stories, such pastimes of great personalities like Haridas Thakur, Narottam Das Thakur, Tukaram Maharaj, etc., etc., Srila Prabhupada's Japa, Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. Then we understand that these are all role models. We have to follow in their footsteps. So the first tool is to hear about these great personalities, read their books, their glories in the books, or hear their pastimes on audio or video. The next thing is we need to avoid distraction while we chant. One of the main tools how we can avoid distraction, there are many tools in that, but one is a major tool which I feel in current age we need to know how to avoid that. The major distraction for a japa in today's age could be our own cell phone, our mobile phones, right? Many times we see the devotees chanting Hare Krishna and they're also having their mobile phones and they're talking or they're watching something. So a lot of activities are going on. Harinam is also going on and chanting and chatting together is going on. So we need to know that we should be not be doing all those kind of activities. We should not get distracted. Our mind is already distracted and then you add more gadgets and other things in our life, then during chanting, then it becomes more and more distracted. So one of the best ways to not get distracted, least distracted, is to avoid our mobile phones. To avoid our mobile phones, if you're chanting in the daytime, then it's very difficult to avoid mobile phones because you have business calls, you have calls from your offices or from your native places or your relatives. So the best time is to chant in the morning, because in the morning time the whole world is sleeping, right? They get up after 7:30 and 8 o'clock. Then you find chats coming in the mobile or messages coming in the mobile. Try to chant all your rounds or maximum rounds in the morning, so there is no disturbance from the mobile. Even if the mobile is on, it's not ringing, it's not having any sound of any bells ringing, telling you notifications from WhatsApp, as Facebook, etc., etc. You're away from the disturbance. Or let's say if you could not chant in the morning for some reason and you chant in the daytime, then you keep on a silent mode and chant. And if you say, Prabhuji, it will be difficult if I keep silent, then what will happen is I will miss some calls and it's very important for me. Even if that case is there, then in that case what you can do is maybe chant 2 rounds or 3 rounds and you are expecting a very important call. Then you, after 2-3 rounds, then you can check your call. You can keep in silent, chant 2-3 rounds, then check your phone, take your bead bag away, and then you attend the call, again keep it back, and then you chant. So you take breaks, but better is to take break and do one activity at a time. So chant means chant and phone means phone. You take phone, then there is no chanting. You take chanting, then there is no phone. This is one way to avoid distraction. If you cannot chant in the morning, if you can chant in the morning, that's the best time because there is no distraction in the morning. No one is there to call you, to chat with you, to send you messages. So therefore the best thing is to do that without mobile in picture. So when there is no mobile, then there is no distraction. Now one more thing which I also see is that yes, when you want to improve chanting, one of the tools of improving chanting is also to engage in service of the holy name. His Holiness Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj was mentioning a very beautiful point in one of his seminars in Japa. He mentioned a point that if you want to, if you want mercy of the holy name, we need to serve the holy name. How we can serve the holy name? Very simple. If you want to improve your chanting, one of the ways to improve chanting is to hear about chanting, then to serve chanting, to read about chanting, to write about chanting. How you can write about chanting? Yes, you can write about some relations or some something which you heard about chanting or you felt like. You make your own journal and you make and write about chanting. So you write about chanting, you are glorifying chanting. Then you can read about chanting. We mentioned about reading pastimes of great devotees. You can read Japa book. There are many devotees who have written books on chanting of the holy name. Sachiranjan Maharaj, Bhurijan Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada's own books are there, Japa books are there, meditation, and quotes from Srila Prabhupada on chanting. And so many devotees have written beautiful books on chanting. Read those books regularly. Or carry name cards when you're chanting with Hare Krishna mantra written on it. So what's happening is chanting, when we do all these extra endeavors apart from the chanting, the vocal chanting, holy name is a person, Nam Prabhu. So he is watching over us. He is seeing how much effort we are putting to gain some taste of holy name or to please the holy name. So the holy name reciprocates. If holy name says that you chant whatever is bare minimum, that's it, then okay, holy name will reciprocate in that style. But holy name, when he watches that you are doing your minimum quota plus also extending yourself, doing extra by reading about the holy name, by keeping a journal on the holy name, how you're chanting, what are your realizations, and also organizing festivals which has holy name in prominence, like we have so many kirtan melas, and devotees come together, organize festivals like that. So that's called Nama Seva, reading about the holy name, chanting about the holy name, writing about the holy name, arranging programs on the holy name, going on Harinam, arranging musical instruments for holy name. In this way, what happens is we are doing service to holy name, or giving mantra cards to devotees that you can use this during your chanting in the morning. I'm just giving some random tips here and there, but the whole idea is render service to holy name. So when you do Nam Seva, that results in service to the holy name, and the holy name reciprocates by giving us some insight to chant better and get some taste in holy name. So in this way, these are few tools which I could think about how we can improve our chanting. One is we should hear the glories of those who are great chanters. We should avoid distraction in our life by keeping one of the distraction factor is mobile. So keep mobile away when you are chanting. And thirdly is to render service to the holy name. I also remember a very important thing. Someone may ask, when will I get taste for holy name? So one person once asked His Holiness Adhanath Maharaj this question, one devotee, Maharaj, I am chanting for last 20 years. When will I get taste for the holy name? So Maharaj answered to him that you just put your efforts nicely. Taste is not in our hands. Taste is in the hands of Krishna. He will surely give you. He will decide when to give you. If he wants, he can give you right now. Or if he wants, he can give you just at the time of death. When you are going to leave your body and you get taste for holy name and you chant that holy name, the last holy name of your current body with so sincerity that you'll actually achieve the perfection of life. So I was very happy hearing that nice understanding that taste is not in our hands. Now if you analyze this particular instruction which was mentioned here, that why it takes so much time to get taste. So there are different analogies to understand this. One is that we should know that we are working on our own self. We are trying to purify our heart. Our heart is completely impure. How much impure? We have no stock, inventory of that. We have been in this material world since time immemorial, have only gathered materialistic thoughts and desires on our heart, dust. Just dust eva hi kevalam, nothing else. So we have gathered that, and now we have to clean that. We have no estimation how unclean that heart is, and yet we need to clean the heart. So we need to have patience. We need to give some time. How much time? A long time, because our journey in this material world is quite long, not in few lifetimes, millions of lifetimes. So we need to broom, we need to clean, and we need to patience. Utsaha, Nishchayat and Dhairyat. So how long is going to take? Well, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so kind, Srila Prabhupada is so kind. They have given us some concession. And we have seen so many devotees, they are achieving perfection of their life, they are able to pass their final exam, death, in a very wonderful way, amidst devotees chanting on auspicious day, leaving their bodies. So we have so many examples. So there is a lot of hope for us. So that hope is there. So it will take some time to achieve perfection. Someone just asked Srila Prabhupada once a question that, Prabhupada, how much time it took for you to perfect your chanting? Now I would say Prabhupada is a perfect devotee already. He is a eternal associate of Krishna. So he came, eternal associate comes pure, he's not impure person, he's a pure person already. But still Srila Prabhupada, just for the understanding sake, Srila Prabhupada told him, for me it took 40 years to perfect my chanting. So even if we take literally that 40 years Prabhupada said it took for him to chant perfectly, if you analyze 40 years, if you say that if I have to perfect my chanting, definitely we are not better than Prabhupada. So at least 40 years we will take, at least, not before that. Just a symbolical way we can say, if someone wants to know how much taste, when the taste will come, 40 years you chant regularly, uske baad hi, after that only there is a chance of getting taste. So in that way we should know that we are going on a long journey. It's not a short journey of 1 year, 2 years. It's a long journey and we have to keep going, keep doing the same thing again and again. Make our chanting better and better so that our efforts are increasing and Krishna watches those efforts, sincere efforts, and Krishna reciprocates by purifying our heart faster. So our heart needs to be purified faster, and therefore the only methodology is to better our chanting. We're chanting already, now we'll chant more better. The example is given that of the bite of a snake. People who are in villages, when they get bitten by a snake, now they don't have access to the snake venom, antiseptic or vaccine like that. So many times in very remote villages, they have a concept called as a snake chanter or a snake, not a charmer, a chanter. Why I say chanter? Because that person comes and he has some methodology, he gives some food in some particular leaf or something in the mouth, and he starts chanting some various mantras and sound vibrations, and by that process the venom comes out. So Indradunu Maharaj mentions one such incident where he was in a village in Vrindavan, and one of the villagers there got stuck by a cobra and by a snake, and he was shouting, please save me, I have been stuck by a snake. So the villagers came running, Maharaj also was there. He said they saw that one snake was slithering away from very far away into a snake hole, and he just vanished. So everyone came to know that he was bitten by a poisonous snake. What to do? So immediately a snake chanter, mantra chanter was called. So he was a local person there doing some, must be trained traditionally by his own father or his guru. So he came and first he started chanting some mantras. Some mantras he chanted. And when he chanted some mantras, the white foam kind of poison was coming out of the mouth of that person who was bitten by a snake. Then this man got some leaf out of his bag and put in the mouth of that person who was bitten by a snake and said, chew this and tell me it is bitter or it is good. The man chewed and said, it is good. It is good. So the man again chanted more mantras. And again a lot of foam came from the mouth. Then he put the leaf again. Now you tell whether it is bitter or sweet. That leaf which he was putting in the mouth was neem leaf. Neem leaf is bitter. But when he put then this man said, okay, it's good. Okay, it's good. Again chanted more mantras. And finally a lot of foam came out of the mouth. And finally he put the leaf and said, as soon as he put the leaf, that man who was bitten by a snake bit the leaf, he immediately threw the leaf out because he could not eat the leaf. And the man said, now the poison has gone out of his body. So when Maharaj asked what procedures you did, it's simple. The poison was inside the body, the poison had to be removed. So I was chanting the mantras to remove the poison. However, I need to also do a test run whether the whole poison has come out or not. So I have to give him what? Neem leaf. Neem leaf by nature is bitter, right? But this man, because he was having poison in his body, he was feeling neem is sweet. So therefore he liked the neem leaf when I gave it for the first time. Then I chanted more mantras, more venom came out, more poison came out. Then I gave him the neem leaf. he felt it is okay, he can manage. But then I chanted more mantras, and finally when I gave a neem leaf to him, he felt that bitterness, which showed that now he's cured. So Maharaj mentioning, Narendra Maharaj mentioning to us, all of us in the seminar there, that when we are bitten by the snake of Maya, that time whatever is bitter, it appears sweeter. And whatever is sweeter, it appears bitter. But as we come out of the venom of Maya, the poison of Maya's effect, then bitter taste as bitter and sweeter taste as sweeter. We also know from Nectar of Instruction how jaundiced person, if we give him a glass of sugarcane juice, he feels it's bitter. So sweeter tastes like bitter and bitter tastes like sweeter. So what is bitter? The reality is the sense gratification in this world is bitter. However, in our poisonous state, we feel sense gratification is sweeter. And what is sweeter? Holy name is sweeter. But in our sense gratification state, the holy name is, we feel it as bitter. Simple as that. So what is the test? That holy name should feel sweeter, sense gratification should feel disgusting. Till that time, what we should do? Keep chanting mantras, as a snake chanter would always chant mantras. Keep chanting more mantras, keep putting more efforts, and slowly what will happen? Initially when we began, we had a high taste for sense gratification and no taste for chanting. But eventually what happened? Our taste for sense gratification is lowered now, lesser. Maybe not fully gone away, but still something is there. But our appreciation of chanting has increased. And that is the reason why every one of you joined this seminar. Otherwise, why should you spend 1 hour daily for last 2 days on hearing about chanting? Because you are all interested in knowing about chanting and improving on chanting. So very important thing, which shows that we need to improve our chanting. That means we have a desire to improve our chanting. So therefore our bitterness has gone down, but our sweetness also has to increase slowly. So what we need to do is chant more, engage in more chanting, doing more quality chanting as well as more quantity chanting. So in this way we can see that this holy name is the essential remedy for this age of Kali Yuga. Everything actually is in the holy name. Naam bina kichu nahi chauda tribhuvan maje. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, beyond this holy name, you will not find anything. You will not find anything like that in the whole 14 worlds. Naam bina. Janivas Prabhu was mentioning a very beautiful pastime about how once when Srila Prabhupada came to Mayapur. In those days, Mayapur was very small. They didn't have much buildings. Just one main building was the building where devotees stayed. Prabhupada had his room on the first floor, and there was a small temple also there. So Janivas Prabhu and one devotee went to meet Srila Prabhupada to ask something. So they went to the room. They saw Prabhupada chanting in the balcony, veranda. So they waited till Prabhupada came to the room. So Prabhupada chanting Hare Krishna. So they waited for some time. Janivas Prabhu and other devotees. Prabhupada came in the room with his chanting bead bag. He kept the bead bag down his head and then lifted the bead bag and said, everything about the absolute truth is in this chanting. Then he kept the bead bag and then he asked, why you have come? And the whole conversation began and they discussed about services in Mayapur. But Janivas was mentioning that I was very happy to hear this statement. Prabhupada is saying that everything about the whole absolute truth can be realized in this chanting. And yet, yes, we can see, we read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, that all that is there, Naam, Roop, Guna, Leela, everything about Krishna can be realized just in this 16-worded Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We are not only chanting, eventually that same chanting will come and help us from Naam, we will understand Rupa. We are able to see Krishna in our chanting. Then we will be able to see the features of Krishna in chanting. Krishna's wonderful qualities we can see in chanting. Then as we progress, then we can actually see Nama, Rupa, Guna and Leela. Actually we will see pastimes being enacted in that chanting. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own Leela, we can see he relished the same holy name which he gave us. Chaitanya Bhagavat mentions in details, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got initiation in Gaya And when he got the holy name from his spiritual master, he was relishing the holy name. And his spiritual master saw that. He said, yes, you chant holy name, don't do anything else. So he was relishing the holy name, the Naam Ruchi came. Then when he went ahead from Gaya, he was coming back to Navadvip. He came to a place called as Kanhai Natshala. And there he actually saw Krishna while chanting Hare Krishna. So while chanting Hare Krishna in Gaya, he was able to realize the Naam potency. Then he went to Kanhai Natshala, there he saw Krishna. So Krishna also was like Krishna manifested himself. So he saw Roop of Krishna, form of Krishna. Then he came back to Navadvip. In Navadvip, he was chanting Hare Krishna and he was realizing the touch of Krishna, the fragrance of Krishna, the different qualities of Krishna he was mentioning. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was able to realize just by chanting. And then we see that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would enter into Krishna's pastime, completely leave the external world and faint. And the devotees had to wake him up. And then he would say, why you brought me back? I was in Vrindavan. I was with Krishna. All by chanting. So that was Srila Prabhupada, what was indicating to Jananivas Prabhu that everything will come from this chanting. That is the power of chanting. So in this way, we can see that these wonderful efforts which we put on for chanting the holy name of the Lord will never go in vain. Krishna will reciprocate with us. All we need to do is we should show our sincerity to Krishna and Krishna will reciprocate. And this is the only thing which will help us. It will help us at the beginning of our Krishna consciousness, in the middle of our Krishna consciousness, and the end of our life in Krishna consciousness in this body. One of famous devotees in ISKCON who is known for his chanting is Ayendra Prabhu. So Ayendra Prabhu mentions very beautifully this point, that we have so many services to do. We have deity worship, we have garland making, we have services like teaching, preaching, cooking, etc., etc. We have to go to attend our duties in the outside world. In all those services which we are doing, raise a family, all that services we should always keep Hare Krishna mantra in center of it. We should always think about Hare Krishna mantra, try to chant more. Why? Because you see, all these services which we are doing right now, they are limited to our physical connection. As long as our physical body is very strong, we are able to do that, right? We can do nice preaching today because our body is okay, good. Tomorrow when the body falls down, body gets disease, gets worn out, it's very difficult to preach, right? Very difficult to sing, very difficult to cook for the deities, difficult to make garlands. All the activities which we are doing right now we are able to do because our body is good. But when body falls apart, we will not able to do any of these activities physically. The only thing which we can do when a body is good or a body is bad is chanting. So therefore, that thing which we want to do throughout our life, and in the end, when we leave our body, that thing which is going to help us, that thing is called holy name, and therefore we need to put efforts throughout our life to make sure that as we progress in the journey of our life, we actually reach our destination and we perfect our life, getting the blessings and mercy of Shri Nam Prabhu, the holy name. So this is something which I wanted to share with all of you. Thank you for joining in this program, and hope and pray that you got some understanding. And if you like the program, please kindly bless me so I can also do some put some efforts in improving my own chanting of the holy names. I am doing Nam Seva here by rendering service to all of you, and by your grace, by your mercy, my chanting will also improve. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. नामाचार्य शरदास ठाकुर की जय. हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय. निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे. हरि हरि बोल.